Fancy managers, welcome to Game Week 29 FPL Addicts Preview podcast with myself, Jack Gillers. We've got the guru, Christopher Reed, with us. Thank you to Ollie and Elliot for standing in last week. The old boys were off and the young boys were holding the fort down for us. But we are back for another podcast, ready for this week, powered by Esports Live and sponsored by Bonus Bank. And a big thank you to Bonus Bank. Of course, we say it every week, they are our top supporters and top fans. Obviously, you can join their community, join our community. Check out the details in the caption below. Take advantage of Bookies promotions. You can get 25% off with the discount code in the caption below. Wherever you're listening or watching, hope you enjoy tonight's stream. We are ready for this week, Game Week 29. Game Week. Show some love, give us a like, a rating, or review, and let's get stuck in. Guru, how are we, mate? I know we've had a busy week this week, haven't we, mate? We've made an appearance in the UK with the BBC 606 Fantasy Podcast. I'm sure everyone's been seeing it on our socials. Are you still buzzing from that appearance, mate?
Yeah, great to be on tonight, and buzzing off that appearance. It was, it was good fun. We had a chat about some FPL, and then we played Sutton Death, and we took them all the way. We do think there was some foul play going on. We do think that, but we did well. We got far, considering I think a lot of the players were probably around Sutton's era, and he was one of the hat trick heroes. Had scored three hat tricks. But yeah, it was surreal. It was so good to be on there. And then obviously today we had the end of Game Week 28, which was just unreal. Lots to discuss from the rest of that as well.
That's right. We've got so much to discuss about Game Week 28 and a lot of content around that and going into Game Week 29. But if you want to check out that podcast with myself and the guru, representing the FPL Addicts podcast, and all the guys are obviously part of our team, we're on there this week, and you can check out. We'll have it in the notes in the caption below, as well as we'll add it on if you're going to listen on Spotify or on Apple. We'll add it on to the end of the podcast as well, so you can listen on there. I did mess up on there, but it was okay. We had a lot of fun. And over to Christopher Reed, FPL Reedy. How are you, sir?
Yeah, I'm doing good, mate. I'm doing good. Apart from not obviously getting invited onto the BBC podcast like you boys there, but listen, I'll let that one slide.
Imagine if you were on there, how much would you be talking? Like, not a word in.
I tell you what, I wouldn't have said Cristiano Ronaldo, that's for sure, because Portugal went on the list. But listen, we let that slide, Jack.
That's all right when you're listening, eh? That's all right when you're listening, not the show.
Listen, you boys smashed it. So all jokes aside, I'm doing good. I'm doing well. Business end of the season, in regards to FPL. And it could have went better, but we'll obviously look into that a little bit later. But unreal scores, knocking about, the guru for one, just give him a little round of applause there because he absolutely killed it. It's busy rolling into the next game week, aren't we? So look forward to it.
Yeah, perfect, mate. And obviously good to have you on. And we are showing our support for obviously Ukraine in there. We've gone blue and yellow this evening on the podcast with the thumbnail and the background, just showing our obviously support there wherever we can and do our little bit. But obviously into game week 28, obviously the results. There are some massive results in there, and we're going to speak about assets, of course. But Guru, and let's talk about some of the results. We'll miss out the Manchester derby, of course. It's pointless looking at that. I'm sure you want to speak about Spurs.
You know what? I'm not actually going to pick it. I'm going to... Yeah, you know what? I just felt Everton were just so bad that I actually want to talk about Aston Villa because... I put a lot of faith in a couple of their assets for this week, which I'll obviously talk about when I go through my team. But, they've won 4-0 and they've won 3-0. They've kept 2 clean sheets. They've scored 7 goals. And, and Villa fans were, they beat Brighton the week before with a clean sheet as well. And I know a few Villa fans were really early on starting to get on Gerrard's back a little bit, which which I didn't quite understand. And then they've just come up, won 3 games in a row, and they've hammered both of these teams. And some big performances from Matt Cash, Callum Chambers, Coutinho, Danny Ings. Even Watkins got a goal in the first game. You see Douglas Luiz in there. There was just so many points, clean sheets, and I think Aston Villa for me over the 2 games. I know James Gadsden, who plays in our paid and free leagues, won't like me saying all this stuff about Villa because he's a big Birmingham fan. But I've got to, I've got to say thanks to Villa this week. Just unbelievable and really surprised.
Yeah, Steven Gerrard and his villains really stepping up this week and surprising everybody. But obviously, we'll get onto your team and your picks in there, as you mentioned, eventually. But really big results from them. I didn't see that coming. And Matty Cash really stepping up as well. But Reedy, what about yourself, mate? Anything to stick out for you this week?
Well, for me, it's not a massive load to pick from, apart from the Villa and the Spurs and stuff like that. There's not really many shock results as such. But if I had to pick one, for me it would be Newcastle. I say one. They had 2 games, of course, double game week. They went and beat Brighton 2-1. They've then gone and beat Southampton Saints last night 2-1 as well. They're really in that run of form at the moment. And it's fantastic to see. It really is. People probably said they could have had a better January transfer window, but I think they did great. The likes of Chris Wood getting on the score sheet and one of their January transfers, and the same with Bruno Guimaraes, who's not been starting as of late, even chipping in. For me, Newcastle, just because I don't think many people have expected them to beat the likes of Brighton and Southampton in the past, especially if Southampton coming into form, recently. But I think they've done brilliantly. So they're the picks for me, those 2 Newcastle games.
I'm sure Elliot Craig, if he was on this evening, would be talking about Newcastle and bigging them up as well. I think they're unbeaten in 10 altogether now, in games-wise.
It's insane.
Really impressive from Eddie Howe. He's obviously got them organised and structured. And similar to Gerrard in a way. Obviously, they've come in and they've both fixed the teams wherever they were at. And they've both kind of pushed on and done really well, haven't they? So, impressive, as much as it hurts to say Gerrard's doing well. But Chris Wood, one of my favourites at the start of the season, who did absolutely nothing for me, obviously delivered this week. I'm sure James Gasner has well and truly switched off the podcast now, if he was listening, because he's obviously a big Brummie, as the Guru mentioned. But listen, I'll mention Spurs in there. Obviously, Kane and Son, who obviously stepped up big time, and Doherty looking really good in there. He obviously smashed it as well. But likes of, where is he on here? I was going to mention Ivan Toney for Brentford. I was going to pick out for Brentford. Came from nowhere, really. I expected Norwich to do a bit better than what they did in that game. And Brentford have been on a dismal run of form. Ivan Toney, is he one to think about, Guru, for anybody?
Yeah, possibly. He does play in game week 30, doesn't he? So, you're going to get a couple of fixtures out of him. And then I think they've got a few games sort of towards the end of the season that are quite good. So maybe there's not many, good forwards in FPL this season. So, if you're going to pick someone around that sort of 6 to 6.5 mil mark, he's not too bad. But, even Pukki in that same fixture got a goal, and then he obviously got the pen against Chelsea. And, I think him and Toney, they're probably not bad sort of budget picks.
Yeah, fair enough. And hello to Quentin. Thanks for joining us from the Amateurs of Oz. Hope you've had a good game week, mate. I'm sure you've had a ripper one. A quick question from Manish here, who's joined us. So thanks for joining, Manish. Should I get rid of Bowen for Mount and Tommy for Cody? Reedy, do you want to take that one, mate?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Jarrod Bowen recently, went off again in that Liverpool game with a bit of an injury, and people probably thought it was quite serious the way he was limping off and so on. But if you look at West Ham in 29, I think they play Villa, if I'm not mistaken. Bowen obviously might be a doubt still. We'll have to wait for press conferences today and whatnot. But if it's maybe not as serious, they might have to rest him. So I would say Mount against Newcastle. It's not a bad shout. Newcastle are in form, but Mount's just come off the back of an assist and a goal last night against Norwich. And then Tommy for Cody. I assume that's Tomiyasu for Arsenal.
I think so, yeah.
Is it time to get off Wolves defenders? I mean, look at them last night, 4-0. No one expected that one. But if Tomiyasu is back, he's got a double game week, and he's also playing in 30. So there is an upside to that move for him. But I would just be careful on the likes of the Bowen, because as we know, Bowen's been brilliant this season. Maybe wait for press conferences a bit later just to see if Bowen's okay. And Wolves have got, who have they got, boys? Help me out here. Who have they got?
Yeah, I've got it on here, mate.
Everton.
They have got Everton away and then Leeds at home.
Right. Yeah. So it's
Everton's
a really tricky one.
6 points in the bag, surely there, no?
It could be a tricky one. That's a really, really tricky one, that. So I'd wait for press conferences first before making those moves. But, I definitely wouldn't say no. But yeah, just wait on that one.
Yeah, right. Well, thank you for that, Reed. He's also asked, should I get Havertz? And obviously, Chelsea looking really good, and Havertz finding a bit of form in there in his last 2 games. He's an exciting asset for sure. He's got to be looked at, and obviously Chelsea are going to be playing across. Where are they on here? They're going to be playing Newcastle, but then they've got that game week 30 where they're not playing. But following that, Brentford, Southampton, a couple of decent fixtures following. But what we'll do, we'll just get onto our review of our mini leagues. And now we're going to the free mini. Now there's been a massive change after a huge haul from Abdullah Cham from the Kothu Classic, from Chama, who is actually going to be one of our guests in a couple of game weeks' time. He's absolutely killed it this week, 129 points, and he's taken the first place on the ladder. Absolutely unbelievable from him. So I'm just going to jump into his team and just see where he's got his bench boost. So what a chip to play this week. He's got his Arsenal assets on there. He's got the triple up with Ramsdale, Lacazette and Saka, picking up 22 points between them, plus Van Dijk with the extra 6 points on there. On the pitch, he's made some huge picks with the captain of Reece James. Guru, talk to me about Reece James captain.
Such a good pick. And I think, those that pick Reece James, were just, they took the I guess the risk, and it paid off, and they deserve those points. And me personally, I was never thinking of Reece James because the injury was always in the back of my mind, and but the reality is he's got 18 points over 2 game weeks. It's over 2 games within the game week, and that's just unbelievable. And to pick him as a captain, 36 points, yeah, it's phenomenal stuff. And he's definitely got his money's worth there from Reece James. So really good stuff from Kothu Classic. And I'm not sure, I think he might have even taken a -8 as well, and he's still come out with such a big score. So that's
just got one transfer.
I was just done the one.
Yeah,
I did just do the one. Oh wow, so he already had his team nicely set up. So unbelievable to see him at the top of the league when I think Donald's been there for weeks now, and so there's been a change, and well done to Kothu Classic, and what a team and what a captain.
Yeah, he's done really well there, and he's used his chipped really nicely, his bench boost. And the planner, he hold really well, second place, 109 points. He's still he's still in the top 400 in the world overall. And we've got Archie McIntosh. I've not seen his name before, so with the Mackin-Fenwar FC, he's in 3rd place. So nice work, Archie. Good to see you in there. And Billy Brannigan, I'm pretty sure he's in Melbourne as well, Billy. Billy's done really well in there. He's still sitting, I think he's been top 10 all season, and he's still sitting 4th after a good 116. But Donald, as we mentioned, has slipped. He only holds 48. He's starting to look like my team in there, and he's dropped down 5th place. I'm sure he's absolutely kicking himself, and that Rudiger captaincy didn't work out maybe too well in terms of the overall for the whole team. But if we jump into our paid mini now, this is where Donald is still doing very well. So he's in 1st place, still holding on with Jordy Wilson, 9 points behind. He's closed that gap. I'm pretty sure that was around 100 points this week. Previously, and everyone's kind of caught up in behind. Jordy Wilson in 2nd place with 99 points. And this week, Kieran King delivering again after his bonus manager of the month award last month. His form has continued. He's got the James captaincy, and he's held 111 points. Chris Reed, you work with the guy. You must be getting some advice from him.
Oh God, we have a little chat normally on a Friday, if anything. Me and Kieran, and he's doing brilliantly. Manager of the month, as you mentioned there for last month. Just pipped me to it, but he just keeps getting his captains right. As you can see, he's put James as captain. Could have even been better if James obviously played last night. So fair play to him. Fair play. I think he's only got possibly 2 chips left or something. But I mean, it's the same situation with me there. So what can I say? Long may it continue for him, because like I said, I've said to him plenty of times, if I'm not going to be able to get there and and win it, I'd love him to. So
Yeah, no, he's done great in there. And we'll jump into the bonus bank. Somehow I've climbed up a space in here and after my horrendous week, but Donald's still dominating in there. He's got his 22 wins and he's 0.66 on Mark Sargent's closing him on there, and Ozspy with 60 points. He's closing the gap as well. Tom Stone's in fourth, not a name we've mentioned too much recently. And Pizza Boy, who's gone missing, he's not jumping on as much anymore. He's gone missing for a while, but he's still stuck in fifth place. So cracking work, mate. But yeah, going back to our awards for the week. Thank you for the reminder in there, because I was just skipping ahead in our free minis and our paid. But I can announce that Mrs. Guru has come out with the Manager of the Week award. So Renee has absolutely smashed it with 132 points. She put the captain's armband on Coutinho. Guru, are you going to come up and collect this award?
Yeah, look, I'll collect it on her behalf. So she's had an unreal week. She actually beat me by 4 points. So I was keeping an eye on the prizes, and I think it was me and her were sort of very close. And she's managed to get me by actually it was 3 points in the end. But her Podence pick in the end was what probably did it for her. He got a goal this morning, and we had a few that were quite similar. We both had Ings, we both had Coutinho, we had Nori, Sarr, Ward-Prowse, but our teams are very similar. But I think her bench boost as well, she played, is there's a couple of extra picks there that have got her over the line with Podence and Robertson. So unbelievable stuff, and really big score, and lots of green arrows. So she's happy with that one, and I think it might possibly put her in the run-in for Manager of the Month as well. So happy days.
No, listen, congratulations, Renee, and hopefully you keep it all to yourself and buy yourself a little cocktail this week and treat yourself. Don't be sharing it with Matt, because even though she's got a very similar game strategy with the bench boost this week, but she's done cracking there and taking the award. So well done, Renee. And while we're on the talk, obviously into our women's league, I will just bring this up with our women's mini here. Here we go. I'm just going to copy and paste this link in because my mouse has now just run out of battery. So I'm just going to go back onto my laptop. Here we go. And Karen is still in first place there. Karen Spence, 90 points this week, and taking it to the top 72 in the world overall, with Marja just creeping in behind still. 1,811 points she's on in second place, and in third place Thashi, who is coming back up again, was in first place for most of the season, but now dropped down to third. So the women's league is heating up, and it's still looking good for that running. But yeah, some cracking results in there, some huge hauls. I've got some questions in here from PSB's joined us. We are going to tell you our game week positions and how we went this week. A bit of up and down in between the three of us, I can tell you that for free. And going back where we were in Quentin Dunn, got a quick question for you, Reedy. Should I start Cancelo or Silva this week?
It's got to be Cancelo for me if he's fit. I know he's been ill recently, so we missed the Champions League game midweek. But it looks like he's back in training. I know people say that Palace can be City's bogey team. So maybe people fancy Palace to nick a goal against City. But if you've got Cancelo in your team, you don't bench him really, and you've got to start him, I think, over Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva was great at one point. Silva, Chris. Oh, does he mean Thiago Silva?
Yeah,
Thiago Silva. Thiago Silva. Yeah. Oh, fair enough. Yeah, you've got Newcastle. So, it's a tricky one. That it'd be nice to see what other defenders Quentin's got, but for me, from an attacking point of view, you've got to go Cancelo. He can keep the clean sheet quite easily for City because they keep so much of the ball, but he can also get you an attacking return. So I'd probably go for Cancelo just on that one.
I mean, obviously, he's got that kind of flag over him at the minute with the illness. He's got the 75% chance. I mean, Thiago Silva's been fine for me. He's like a Rolls Royce of a defender, hasn't he? What is he, 36 years old? He doesn't look out of place in this league at all. And he's hauling both in Premier League and in UCL, isn't he?
Yeah, and it just goes to show as well, someone who's come from Liga, people like to call the Farmers League and so on, as that's what it's nicknamed. For him to come from that league, and kind of do what he's done in the Premier League, just goes to show the caliber player that he is. You know what I mean? So yeah, fair play to him for still going at that age and making it just look like a walk in the park. Basically, he just coasts through games. He's so good.
Yeah.
So, but Cancelo for that one for Quentin.
You're sticking with him, are you?
If he's fit and he's ready to go, it's got to be Cancelo. Yeah.
All right, fair enough, mate. You've had your say on that one. And what we'll do, we'll jump over to our mini league here. This is where we can find out how we're doing this week. Obviously, the fake statman David Watts sitting bottom of the league there, but he's holding a 67-point game week. Not bad. He captained Shea Adams out of nowhere. Shea Adams is the captain. He's got quite a few chips to play. He's kind of holding on to them. So we'll see what he does in the next couple of weeks. Elliot Craig stepped up again. He's had a kind of a bad February, didn't he, in January, but he's coming back into his own. 70 points, very respectable in there. He played Salah as his captain and also played his Wildcard as well. So some nice picks. He got Kane in there, very good. And he's back to obviously triple up on Southampton assets and a couple of Wolves ones. But yeah, he's kind of set himself up nicely. Be interesting to see how he gets on this week. I'm not going to spend too much time on my one because I had a terrible week. I took a -8. I think I had my eyes on other things in the last couple of weeks. Didn't have much room. Jota not coming, playing those kind of 11 minutes when he came on really stuck me. I think I dropped 200,000 places as well, from 450 down to 650, I think it was. So that has absolutely killed me this week. So too busy working on other things. I took my FPL really this week, not really concentrating. Took a -8.
Look at reading.
Left, right, and centre.
You know what? When it comes to me talking about mine, I feel slightly better now, Jack. I felt horrendous, but listen, I'll let mine. Sort of. Yeah. I can live with mine moving forward. I don't mind, but Jack. I mean, do you know what though? The Jota one.
He got booked as well.
Yeah, I can see maybe why you left him. Like, you guys will know this, right? You'll laugh at this as well, certainly. Right, you guys know from UCL, right, what I did, right? Diego Jota obviously killed me in there because I decided to captain him ahead of Lewandowski. Now, if I had a gun here, I'd probably want to use it in that respect. But so I've had a bit of I can understand the Jota thing. He could have quite easily scored against West Ham. You know what I mean? It can happen. But you've just been unlucky and you've just been a little bit, foot off the pedal there, Jack. But, we have those game weeks, mate. Don't beat yourself too much over it. I'm sure you'll get a good score next week.
We're moving on pretty swift from this one. So, I had a good week in draft. I had a good week on UCL. I had a terrible week in FPL. But, the one that really matters. But going on to some better news. Ollie Walker-Peel with the Mornington Rovers, 86 points. He only made one transfer and he brought a captained Broha. So, Guru, what did you think of that captaincy pick from him?
Yeah, look, obviously, in hindsight, it's not done very well, but I can see the logic behind it. Saints had a couple of good fixtures on paper, but they've come out and lost both of them. So yeah, it didn't surprise me with Ollie. He does like to pick a bit of a curveball, doesn't he? So he's not quite done it there, Broja. But he's got some good picks in there. He's obviously got Coutinho. He's kept Trent. Harry Kane's obviously done the business for him. He's got is that Guaita in goal for Palace.
Yeah,
I think he's got the double up with Gay here as well, who I know he's rated all season. So, yeah, but he's done okay. He's beat the average. I think he's just he's a strong captain score away from potentially hitting the 100 club. So look, he's done okay. I know he's on the wild card this week as well. So I'm sure he's going to make quite a few changes, but. Yeah, look, he's done okay. It's just a captain away from, even better. So I think he might have. I'm not sure if he got a green arrow in the end either.
Overall, where is he? No, he did. It did drop slightly, but I mean, he's still 310 in overall. So really impressive from him. And like you just mentioned, which I was going to allude to as well, he has ignited the wild card chip. So very excited to see what Ollie does there. I was hoping to get him on tonight, but he couldn't make it. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see who he picks in there. But a nice pick with Coutinho in there, and obviously the Broha one could have gone either way, couldn't it? So, but very nice. And on to Reed. It didn't do as well as Ollie Walker-Peel, but he has played his wild card and he returned a very decent 80 points. I mean, on a normal week when you're comparing it versus other results, I mean, 80 is a very good score. So really well done for that, mate. And if you want to, talk us through your team, pal.
Yeah, wild cards, eh? Oh, those guys that played it in 26 had a very good plan, but for this game week, it was so tough, so many players to choose from. I'll tell you that much. And it was this or that. It was so close to being Coutinho and keeping Trent and keeping both of those guys and bringing in Rafinha. I've not had him all season. The Vardy one, will hold my hands up and say I got a little bit greedy with that one. And him coming on against Burnley definitely didn't help. Because I thought, right, he's playing Leeds, he's going to absolutely smash them. It wasn't to be. So, I went with Reece James. I think that one I was fairly confident on that I definitely wanted him in. Brought him in. Rudiger brought him in. The only players I actually kept were Salah, Livramento, and Kane, possibly. Maybe even Willock. So I didn't really keep like loads of my players. I got rid of Trent, as I say, Coutinho, which killed me, absolutely killed me. My captain as well killed me.
Who did you pick instead of Coutinho?
So I've moved out Trent to get in James, and I put Van Dijk in. So for Coutinho, then I thought, right, I'll go with a lower budget, which is Ramsey. And that left me one pick in midfield. That's what it all came down to on when was it? Was it Friday, the deadline last week? That's what it came down to. It was, I've got another midfielder spot. Who do I pick? Yeah. And it was, who's got a double game week and so on. And I looked at Rafinha and I thought, he's got a double game week, should do well as such. And that the reason that was because I had Vardy, who obviously he's 10 point something mil. So obviously you're not going to have enough funds then to have Coutinho. So it was a strange one because, I kind of didn't go with the obvious picks, which would have been Trent, which would have been Coutinho, and so on. So it could have gone a lot worse because my rank, I think, was 148 at the beginning of the game week. I'm on 172 now. So it could have been a lot worse, really. So I'll take it and run. I'll take it and run this week, boys.
Your bench boost would have been like, if say you'd wildcarded this a week earlier, that this probably would have been a really good bench boost week. I guess basically looking at the bench you got, I was surprised seeing you had Rafinha because you have said all season with Rafinha that you've not been a huge fan of him. Because I've been a big fan of Rafinha, you know that for the last couple of seasons, whereas you've not been a big fan of him. And you were one of the first ones to get onto Coutinho, and you had that big haul out of him. So I was surprised to see. Obviously, I've ended up with Coutinho, and then you've ended up with Rafinha, and I feel like if this was a few months ago, it would have been the other way around. That was one I was surprised to see from there. But I can see why you bring Vardy in because Vardy, you had one eye on game week 30 with Vardy, who would have had the Brentford fixture, scored against Burnley. He's going to have a lot of
versus,
and he would have. He's got double game weeks coming up. They've got games in hand, Leicester, and I think I can see that because you would have looked at it thinking maybe Vardy could be a good captain option, and obviously he's now come out with another injury, so that one's unlucky. James was a good pick, but the Coutinho one's probably the only one I thought you might have had because you were probably one of the first ones that was.
Because you're Liverpool. Because he's Liverpool.
And that's exactly that. It was like, bringing in Ramsey was because he's so cheap. It was like, that can actually spread your funds elsewhere.
Yeah, he's an enabler, isn't he? He's been great.
He's an enabler. Yeah, he's playing deep lately. If anyone's watched Villa games, and Coutinho's in that 10 where he was best for Liverpool previously.
Because they've got two back up top and behind, playing diamond kind of thing now.
Ings has now come in, so they've got obviously the two up top rather than that three that they had. So even the likes of going Salah captain, and now. I know that on this podcast, boys, we don't really discuss EO much, if at all. But I know it's definitely something that's definitely mentioned and spoke about in the FPL community. And it's, if anything, it's more of a rank protector. And anyone that's had Salah this season, not many people want to go without him or even not captain him. And first time on Friday doing the wildcard, it's the first time I actually thought to myself, if I don't captain Salah and he hauls or whatever, it's going to affect me rank. And I just put it on Salah. I don't know why. I thought, he'll probably bag against West Ham. So it was a really, really strange sort of wild card pick and where I was at and what I did and choices like that. But listen, I can live with it. I know there's still plenty of time left in the season. I've got a couple of chips. And listen, I think we need to move on to the Guru because he's absolutely, annihilated us. Let's just say that, Jack. He's absolutely annihilated us.
That's it, mate. And moving swiftly on from your team. But like I said, good effort, Reedy. But we'll go on to the big one for this week. The Guru has delivered. He has shown us what he's made of, and he's smashed it with 137 points. Yeah, he did take a -8, but he did play his bench boost as well. The Guru, take us through your team, my friend.
Yeah, I feel like the roles reversed a bit here because I've gone and done the hits like Reedy would do, which I don't normally like to do. But I just looked at it and thought, with the last double game week, there was just so many points, and if I'd taken more hits, I would have benefited. So I thought, look, I'll go in with a -8. Was always planning for the bench boost because I wildcarded in, the previous game week for this bench boost. And look, some really picks I'm really happy with. Coutinho as captain. He was the armband was on him for the whole week. It was never going to come off him. I liked his fixtures. I thought they were going to be really attacking games for Villa. He's come out and just done wonders. Ings, 20 points. He was someone I bring in on Wildcard. And then, he's obviously done really well as well. He's got 3 assists and a goal and some bonus, which is nice because I previously owned Ollie Watkins. And then I'd stuck with Trent. I'd done the goalkeeper double up of Dubravka and Sarr. Nori missed the first game, but he come out and got some points in the second one. There was about 10 minutes to go till deadline, and I was only on a -4 at the time. And then I took a second -4 to bring Wood in for Weghorst. So with my -8, I've actually gained 10 points. So I think I got 18 points from the players that I bring in, and I've gained 10 points because the players I took out, I can't remember what they got, but Wood obviously got the goal. I've now got him for the next couple of games as well. He's got that, we talk about him a lot on the pod. You've owned him, Jack. He's let quite a few people down this season.
We know what he's capable of.
Yeah, we know what he's capable of. And, I thought this was just a great time to bring him in. St. Maximin was injured. Wood's got 4 games in 2 weeks. And he's got me 10 points now. So if he can get me a goal in this next game week, then it's job done. Really, really happy with the game week, the bench boost. There's still players there that didn't do so much. I've had Ward-Prowse now for a few weeks. Hasn't delivered. Bednarak got me a 0. If I'd had, maybe a Matt Doherty there, or a Matt Cash, because Matt Cash was someone I was looking at on the wild card, I could have had an even bigger score, but, I've said this to a few people today is, you can't have them all. I can't complain with that. I think 129 points with the hit, 137 points, without the hit, and massive week. And, my rank, I think I've managed to climb 60,000 places, which is nice. And I think it was Christmas time. I think when I was in the top 20k in the first couple of months, I moved down to about 300 to 350, and then within 4 or 5 weeks, I've gone back up to 50k. So it can be done, but again, I've used a lot of my chips. I've only got 1 free hit left, so we'll see how we go from here. But I've put myself in a decent position.
Not perfect, mate. I'm just going to unpack a few things that you've mentioned there. Obviously, Chris Wood coming in is delivered for you. So obviously delighted seeing that. And I've got a good segue in just a second about Chris Wood. But the Coutinho captain, what a pick he was. 46 points. We know what he's capable of from what his time in Liverpool. He's come back into the Prem and he's absolutely flourishing under Stevie G, isn't he? How do you think about him being on the captain's armband for the future weeks?
Yeah, look, if they have another double game week, I'd definitely do it if they do have another one. It depends who obviously Liverpool and Salah's got on the same game week. Who's he got on there? Is it game week 32 that Man City play Liverpool, or game week 33?
32, he's got your Spurs at home.
He's got Spurs, as he?
Guaranteed goals, surely.
Yeah, so he's got a couple of tougher fixtures coming up, but I'm going to keep him because I'm liking that end to the season for him.
Yeah, he's going to finish. Surely going to finish strongly there, right?
He can score against anyone. Look, I wouldn't be against putting it on him again. Maybe in the Norwich home game that he's got there. But it just depends who else has got. What other players have got. Fixtures against him, like the Salahs, like the Sons, or the Kanes. Yeah. But look, I wouldn't be against doing it again. But my logic behind Coutinho was I looked at it and I thought 2 games against 2 teams that play open football. Southampton and Leeds, they don't defend. And I looked at it and I just thought this could be the last chance in FPL to captain Coutinho. That's how I looked at it. I thought this could be the last ever chance to captain Coutinho because he might not stay. You know, he might end up back in Spain or go to Germany. We don't know. And I just thought I want to have one last chance at captaining Coutinho because back when he was in the Prem at Liverpool, I used to have him in my team, and I don't remember captaining him too much. I just thought I'm just going to do it, and he's absolutely smashed it. And him and Danny Ings just phenomenal. Yeah,
what a duo. Stevie G with all his friends back at the club along the journey with him. But I was going to say, obviously on the Coutinho one, staying at the end of the season, I was going to say he'd be going Chelsea, but we know that's not going to happen now, don't we? While Boris Johnson's in charge of the club. One of the other things I wanted to unpack was there was a bit of a confidence booster in there as well. You were sitting at 450, obviously, and you've come a long way in the last couple of weeks and moved up to 50k. So it was a bit of a confidence booster for me to see that I can do it and take me with you on that journey. But 50k is feeling a lot more like it for yourself, Matty. And obviously, you're looking ahead for the rest of the season. You're going to be pushing on now. And where are you thinking you're wanting to aim for now?
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, I'd be happy just to stay and finish top 100k. It's been a strange season with COVID. Be done with it and move on to next year. But now with with this score, and with the little bit of a rivalry with Statman Dave on the 606 pod, I think I'm going to aim for try and push into that top 20k. But I'd like to stay. I'd like to sort of top 50k would be nice if I can push into that sort of top 20. Maybe even top 10k. Hopefully, I've not left it too late. That would be nice. But it's been a real grueling season. It's been tough with COVID. So I think I'll say top 20k for now.
Have you checked where Statman Dave's at after this weekend? Because I think he was a little bit ahead of you. But have you actually had a look, Matt?
I've not looked to see where he is now. I know he was ahead of me before these games today, but I'd be interested to know where he ended up because he didn't have Coutinho in his team.
What we'll do in the background, we'll try and find him. But he was sitting at 40k, was it? You mentioned on Wednesday?
40k, 40K, before today's game.
But just before we end on that, I know you're going to move forward there, Jack. And,
I'm not actually. I'm going to.
You're not. I was just going to say. The Danny. Are you going to mention the Danny Ings pick?
No, not you. I think obviously you can mention that one, mate, if you want.
Unbelievable pick, and that's the defining pick of the Guru. An extra 20 points he got you, and what did you end up on? 129. That's 20 extra points that took you into that nearly 30. Obviously the -8. But it's took you into that extra, sort of oomph that you needed. And you took him. Who did you bring Ings in for? Did you already have him from the week before? Or
I brought him in on Wildcard. I actually brought him in for Ollie Watkins. So in the same time, I just went Villa for Villa. It was a bit of a sideways move. Watkins wasn't doing it for me.
And a lot of people are put off by sideways moves. So they're like, "Oh, it's a bit of a sideways move. Don't do it." But it just goes to show how much it can actually work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and Watkins has actually got, so he got the goal against Brighton, but he got a booking in that game. Then he got the goal against Southampton, and then this morning against Leeds, he got another booking. And I just thought Watkins just wasn't doing it for me. I knew his form would turn, but Ings just when he plays, when he gets minutes, and he's fit, he showed it at the start of the season, and he showed it at Southampton. I looked at it and just thought, this guy, he's a phenomenal striker, and we've seen it before. And now I'm looking at him and I'm thinking, probably going to keep him now could potentially keep him till the rest of the season.
And I think that's the difference between, I'm not saying Danny Ings is on Harry Kane's level, or because you look at Harry Kane's record speaks for itself and so on. But you look at Danny Ings, his goal scoring pedigree compared to Watkins. It's there. It's been there before, and for him to come back in, you've absolutely nailed that one, mate. So I just want to give you a huge pat on the back for that one, because I didn't see that one. Definitely didn't see that. I know you had him from previous, like you say, in the Wildcard, but no one probably would have seen him, in this double game week getting the score that he did. So happy days for you, mate. I'm made up. But yeah, go ahead, Jack. Take it. It's all back to you, mate.
No problem. And cheers for that reading. Yeah, and obviously well done on the Ings. 3 games he's delivered for you now, Guru. But I want to bring in now, I was going to use the Chris Wood pick. We've got a big Chris Wood fan coming just onto the pod right now. And
huge Chris Wood fan. He's got a poster of him in his room, hasn't he?
He's turned his screen off especially. But Ollie Walker-Peel, how are we, son?
I'm not bad, mate. Surprised the paparazzi's not here after your 606 appearance, mate. But, just as me immortals now, isn't it? You're the immortals on the podcast, and we're just the lower class level after your appearance. But fair play to the pair of you for snagging that. Yeah, I had no idea that was coming out, but great to see the FPL Addicts representing over at 606. So great stuff, mate. Just wanted to congratulate you on that.
No, it's all down to a team effort, mate. And listen, we wouldn't be begrudging you if you made an appearance on there very shortly and you were interviewing us next time, mate. But we'll hopefully get you on there at some point. But you obviously you had a good week. We were just commending you for the 86 points that you got this week. But there was no Chris Wood in your team. We did mention your team just earlier, mate. But you can give us a bit of a shout, and give us a debrief on how you went if you want, mate.
Yeah, I presume that you'd already gone through it, so I won't really spend too much time on it, considering that, everyone here, and I hope you're all well, everyone has already heard this already, but again, Coutinho, I've already heard you go through it as we went through it. What a pick that was. I'm very happy with that. Obviously, Captain Brozier, had confidence that he'd just come off, a good performance in the Cup. I thought he'd carry that into the league. Obviously, he didn't, so that was a bit disappointing, but it was just Aston Villa that really got me through with Coutinho. Trent, again, doing some great work. But I don't really, I'm happy with this week, happy with the Green Arrow, 86 points. You take that any day of the week. But, since we've already gone through this while I've not been here, I'll talk about what's happening this week instead. I'm actually playing a Wildcard this week, which might sound a little bit surprising considering I'm off the back of 86 points. But I think this might set me up for the rest of the season if I was to play it now. And so that's the goal, really, playing a Wildcard.
And any insight into what this team's going to look like, mate?
I won't say too much, but I will say the Guru will be very happy with how it looks.
How many mind games are you going to play right now?
All I'll say is the Guru will be very happy with how it's going to look. That's all I'll say. Heavy Tottenham influence.
Yeah, so what we're saying is 3 Burnley, 3 Newcastle, couple of Norwich, couple of Norwich, and then maybe one of a Palace and a United, something along those lines. No?
There's more chance of Jack winning sudden death than me getting 3 Burnley players in.
Sue.
There we go, mate. As I go for the Sue.
But no, there will be no Burnley players. I've kept the rule. I've kept the rule of no Burnley players in my team, so I'm obviously going to stick to that. But look, the plan was to set myself up through the double game week and then through the blank. Because obviously with the blank game week coming up, I thought I'd try and be proactive and try and really maintain a couple of green arrows there. Because I think that might be a chance for me to really set up my team from there on in. So that was a thought process. I played that. I think it was on Thursday before the games this morning for us. And I just thought, you know what, I'll play it. I've still got one left. I think I might still have 1 free hit left. I can't remember. Still got my bench boost left. So I've still got a couple of chips to play with. So I may as well get them played. I'm not doing too bad at the moment off the back of another green arrow. So hopefully I can have a good end to the season.
No, cracking stuff, mate. And just a couple of hellos here. Wing was congratulating Guru on his cracking week, as well as Mike Haplin. So good to see you, Mike. And who else was on? And Quentin, there we go. And Quentin's Ollie's broadcasting from the back cave. Yeah. Are you in the back cave, Ollie?
I'm absolutely not in the back cave. I will say my room is an absolute mess. So I've just literally quick set up. I didn't even realize you were still on. I've just been busy tonight and just thought, you know what, everyone's still on, so I'll just make a quick cameo appearance. And so,
right, well, good
just
to
like
have
that,
you, mate. Good to have you. Statman Dave is sitting at 39,000.
Can I just say
game week, so he's on
the
39,000.
one thing
took a -4. Sorry,
one
mate.
thing I would say, we didn't even mention our own Statman Dave on the pod. Can't believe that, even our own, we have multiple Statman Daves here. I thought that, maybe, we'd be going with the whole imitation is the biggest form of flattery, and the real Statman Dave would upstage the 606 counterpart. But
it's quite funny that.
How is he doing at the
you
moment?
mentioned that, Ollie. Yeah, you could have mentioned that. You could have said, we've got our own Statman Dave. I mean, he's probably not going to live up to the same as theirs. But
yeah, that's probably why we didn't mention him.
Yeah, I think he's quit FPL this year. Statman Dave.
Yeah, the real Statman Dave, so to speak, is clearly, obviously, a better fantasy manager. But it would have been nice to see some parallels. Maybe our Statman could have met his idol, and his namesake. But maybe at the social next year, who knows?
That's it. Hopefully when they're presenting the social along with you boys, and then you combine it together. But we're going to go on to the preview for this week for Game Week 29 fixtures. So we're kicking off the weekend, obviously in Australia on Saturday at 11:30. Brighton versus Liverpool. Reedy, how are you feeling about this one?
Yeah, amazing. We're going to smash them 8-0. Yes, sound. No,
perfect. Next game.
I don't know. It's the season-defining games for us this game week. Massive, huge. We obviously 3 points behind City if we win our games in hand, and that's what it is this week. Hopefully Palace can do something against City. But Brighton midday kickoffs. But they can always be a little bit tricky, can't they? That first game, it can be a 0-0.
I was having a look at your head-to-head as well versus them. You haven't won in the last 3 games.
Oh, it's, Brighton, they're becoming slowly but surely becoming a little bit of I don't want to say bogey team, but Dan Burns not there. That's all I'm going to say. Listen, he's at Newcastle now, and they haven't got Dan Burn, they haven't got Webster. I fancy us to probably win this one. I'd say about 2-0, possibly 3 even. I just think we'll be too good for them on this occasion, and that's about it. I expect us to win that one. I think the Arsenal one's going to be a bit trickier, but the Brighton one, I expect us to kind of win this one and there not be too many problems, to be honest.
Yeah, that's it. And as you know, obviously the double game week for Liverpool this week. Obviously the second one against Arsenal. Could be a bit of a tricky one that. But PSB just mentioned it's going to be Gillas versus Guru this game week. Stretford End is eagerly waiting to welcome Conte and the boys raring to go. Come on, United! And listen, I'm well with you there. If we didn't have Harry Maguire at the back. And Guru, how are you feeling about this United Spurs game? I'll let you have your first say, mate. Has he gone on mute? Or
he's muted himself.
We can't hear your fans. We can't hear your fans there, Guru.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now, mate. Go on.
Sweet, sorry, everyone. Look, it's hard to. It's just hard to say what you're going to get with Spurs, right? Like, we've had some patchy results. There's some teams that, they play a certain style and it suits us. Look, we did win 6-1 at Old Trafford last season, so I will point that out. Look, I'm never confident with Spurs at the moment. I can't say I can go into any given game and say I think we're going to win. But look, I'm going to go maybe a 1-1, maybe a 1-1 type of game. We discussed this yesterday, Jack. United, they've been getting a bit of criticism under Ralph, but they've only lost 2 games? Is it two matches along the way? They've had a lot of draws. Still Old Trafford, but look, I'll go 1-1. Maybe nick it 2-1. Maybe a 2-1 Spurs 1-1. So look, I've seen. That's all right.
Hey, listen, I've got a bone to pick with Mike. Actually, I've got a bone to pick with Mike. Do you remember that time he told everyone to get on Gabriel, and he was literally, Gabriel train. You know what I'm talking about, Mike? Yeah, getting everyone to get him in, and then he did absolutely diddly squat. No, all jokes aside.
To be fair, I was part of that.
Yeah, I know. It was all funny games. It was a top joke. But listen, it's going to be the Alanga v. the Kulikevsky, champ this weekend, boys. I'm sure that'll be interesting. But these are both kind of sitting on the fence here. 1-1. What's that about? Come on, come on, Jack. Give us a bit more than that.
Just so unpredictable.
I've not actually given you my prediction yet.
Oh, here we go. All right, it's 5-0 then, isn't it? Go on.
Yeah, I think both teams are just so hit and miss, and it changes so much for them. But I'm gonna look. I'll say 1-1, but I can still, if someone's gonna win, it will be us, and it will be 2-1. If I'll say that, and then see what Jack reckons.
Yeah, listen, with our 4-4-2 with Pogba and Bruno up top, it's going to be goals galore, of course. But I think both teams obviously cagey. We don't really know what to expect. Obviously Guru mentioned the 6-1. I'll mention obviously we've scored 6 goals in the last 2 games against them when we've won back to back. Obviously I think that 6-1 was both under different managers anyway. So both teams are looking a bit different from what they were, or not maybe. But I'm going to go for United 2-1. 2-1 I'm going to go for. I think there will be some goals, definitely. I think there's going to be a win, counter-attacking, from both teams. United press, counter-attack, God knows what we do these days, but I think we'll get the win. Ronaldo, he's going to help me out this week and get me out of jail.
If his hip's not broken, that is. If he's not on a Zimmer frame or in a wheelchair.
If he wants to play.
Yeah, if he fancies it this week, which I think he will, he might get back into the fold. But Yeah, we'll see how we go. I've always been nervous about United this season since after the first game of the season was all great, but then kind of went not too exciting from there.
I'm going to say 3-1 Spurs, boys. 3-1 Spurs.
Right,
what about you? What about Ollie?
Is Ollie still here?
I'm back. I should be back. I'm going to say United to win. I'm going to say
as a first.
I'm going to Spurs. I mean, I hope not, because I'm going to tease my team. I've gone triple up on Tottenham, so I hope not. But
is this mind games, Ollie? Come on.
United. I'll go United to win. United 2-1. I'll go with Jack.
2-1. All right, I like it. Reedy, did you get what was yours? Sorry.
3-1 Spurs.
Are you not changing it? I thought you were messing. Oh,
no, 3-1 Spurs. Serious.
Oh wow. Okay. Ollie, have you got a game for us, mate? Or teams that you're looking at? It's going to be a tasty one.
Again, I mean, I want to call out. I want to give a while in Alex's absence. I want to have a look at Newcastle, because I saw on the Premier League Twitter this morning, only Liverpool have taken more points since the turn of the year than Newcastle, and they've got themselves a double game week. A game against Chelsea that they probably, with all the news out of Stamford Bridge at the moment, they might fancy. And then Everton later down, if you scroll down a little bit, who look absolutely hopeless. So maybe the likes of Sam Maximan, Guimaraes with a wonderful goal this morning. Even in defence, you could be looking at the likes of, even Emil Kraft, for goodness sake, if he gets up from his injury, I don't know. But they look solid at the moment to Newcastle. And I think that game against Chelsea might be an interesting one with all that's happening with Abramovich and all his assets being frozen, and Chelsea not being able to sell tickets to fans who haven't got season tickets and the like. It's a little bit fractured. So it's interesting to see how they'll come back from that. And Newcastle, in red hot form, I reckon it'll be a decent game, this one. And I reckon Newcastle will take something.
I think as well, what's so close, if you look at the Premier League table at the moment, Everton are on 22 points, Burnley 21, Watford 19. If Everton don't win in that Wolves game, if they don't beat Wolves or even get a point, maybe that Newcastle game for them is massive. It's huge because they could really find themselves then in the relegation zone. I think Burnley have got Brentford. Burnley could easily beat Brentford, and there you go. There's the swing, and Everton it could be in the relegations, but come the end of the game week. So it's go with Ollie there. So in terms of Newcastle, they could quite easily get something from the Chelsea game. You never know.
And they could also lose 8-0 as well. But
that's true. Yeah.
if we have a look at potentially some rumours that are coming out now, I think the Guru, you can break this news. What have you just heard, mate?
There's a few rumours doing the rounds on Twitter that Virgil van Dijk has COVID. Firmino's been confirmed apparently with COVID, and Thiago for Liverpool, who's obviously been very good for him this season, but he's had a few injury problems here and there. Sometimes can't quite get the run of games. I think he might have COVID as well. So I'm not sure how true it is, but it's just a few rumours now circulating on Twitter. There's been one quite credible account who's confirmed the Firmino one. But yeah, there's been a few whispers about Thiago and Van Dijk. So maybe you might want to just hold on to your transfers just for another day before deadline. Just don't make those moves tonight. Wait for the press conferences, as we always say.
Yeah, and that's what we always say, and that's what we should always do. However, some of us make transfers early. So we're going to talk about transfers and captains now. I've also had a bit of a mare this week. So on Thursday, I did make some early transfers, and I brought James in.
Oh my God.
I was looking through my team. I was like, I can't afford not to bring him in, because if he gets a price rise or something happens here, I can't afford him. And obviously I brought him in, and then that happened. So I did bring James and Saka in. So now I'm actually considering playing a wild card to get me out of trouble. I'm on a -4 at the minute. Probably, I've got Cancelo at the back and James both with flags on. So it's not great in that respect. I'm not too sure I can get away with a 3 with Brandon Williams in there, but it is Leeds, so there might be a bit of potential to get away with him. So I could grin and bear it, but we'll see. Transfers from you boys. Ollie, you're playing a wild card. You mentioned a couple of players in there. Anything else you want to mention on that one, or shall I move on to the next manager?
I just think, it's a lot of double game week players, heavy North London. I think at the moment I've got I think 5 in midfield. So there's a couple of players I'm tossing up with. I did have both Saka and Smith Rowe in there at one point. I don't think I'll go with both of them. I think I'll also have Saka in my team, like yourself, Jack. Again, not trying to, fully copy your team, because why would you want to? But I'm going, trying to wild card, trying to set up my team, do something a bit interesting, and see if we can bring it home.
All right, buddy. And Christopher Reed, FPL Read It. What have you got for us, mate?
Oh, I might as well just let you know, mightn't I? You know what I mean?
Mate,
rather than just keeping it hidden, and the Guru's already smashed me there and gone a bit more ahead of me in the podcast league. So I've made 3 moves for this game week. Took a -8, back to me always. It feels amazing. I'm not going to lie. So Doherty's in.
Pants.
That's it. Yeah, I'm not wearing any pants at the moment. No, I'm joking. I am. Just, be careful.
Enjoy that, viewers.
Yeah, Doherty's in. Kulikevski's in. And who's the other one? Where is he? Lacazette. What's going on?
He missed training, didn't he, Reedy?
Do not mind that.
Oh,
he missed training, didn't he?
If he's fit, I don't mind it.
He did, but it was his pinky toe. I think we're all right. It was a bit of bruising or something like that. Apparently, nothing to worry about. So I've brought those 3 guys in.
Is that an Arsenal triple that you've got then?
Yeah, well, no, it isn't. Arsenal double. So I've got Lacazette, Saka. I already had Saka off the back of my wild card. And then I've got Kula, Doherty, Kane. The difficulty was Son. Do we bring Son in? But because I've got Kane already, high-priced asset, obviously it made sense to bring in Kulikevski and Doherty there. And it gives me, I think, 2 point something left in the bank, 2.4 in the bank still. So if I want to make that move up to Robertson or Trent at some point, if I make a couple of moves, I can bring him back. So that's how I'm looking for this week, boys. I've currently got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 double game weekers for this week. And then going into 30, about 8, something like that. 8 game week players. So yeah, that's me. Captain. We're going on to that now. Whoa, sorry about that. So
getting too excited. We're going to do transfers we're going to do transfers, and what we'll do then, we'll do the Guru section, and we'll come back and do captains, but Guru transfers.
Ward-Prowse will be coming out for me. He's been disappointing, and Kulusevski will come in. So that'll be 1 transfer, and then I'll probably do maybe either a -4 or a -8, possibly. I'm also looking at maybe Doherty for Bednarek. So I think although they've got the Watford game, Southampton, I just think it's time to clear out some of their players. I'm not too keen. And then I'll wait on Cancelo. I did see on his Instagram story that it looked like he was in training. So I'll wait for that news. I was actually going to bring Van Dijk in, but it looks like he does have COVID. So just according to some stuff I've just read then. So I might just stick with Cancelo, maybe just do the -4. There's not really anyone else that's kind of doing it for me. I think, the Doherty will set me up for game week 30. Kulusevski plays in game week 30. The other double game weeks, a couple of Everton players look okay. I know they're not looking great as a side, but I don't like Arsenal's double. I don't like their double. I think it's more of a single with the Liverpool fixture. So I'm happy with maybe just those 2 transfers and a -4.
Yeah, and if you've got question marks over your defensive kind of assets with that one that you're umming and ahhing about, you wouldn't be going near Everton, would you really? And you wouldn't like to think so after the way they've been doing it, with Michael Keane hitting him in the back of his own goal anyway. But yeah, interesting. And obviously that Liverpool one's one to watch now, isn't it? With, I suppose we'll talk about a bit more about that, but if a bit of COVID's going around there and there's 4 of them maybe out already, it's going to be interesting to see what kind of happens if they can hold that in the camp or not.
Or if they call off the second game.
We'll see what happens there. But if we go on to the Guru section now, the much anticipated one, we've been chatting for a fair while here. And but we're an hour in. Too much content to be going on with, but we've got even more tasty content, some juicy picks from the Guru himself. Let's hear it from you, mate. Are we looking for the Guru section this week?
I'll do a few differentials there. I'll go with a couple of, although I know we've sort of slammed Everton a lot on this podcast today, and spoke about them potentially going down. But I'm still liking Richarlison at 5% owned. Back-to-back home games. He looked really good in the game against City when they played at Goodison Park a few weeks ago. I think if Everton are going to stay up, it's going to be their home games that they're going to need to get the result. So I'm liking him at 5% owned for someone different. 2 fixtures. Gordon, who he hauled in the last double game week. He's 1.9% owned. He's really, really cheap. I think he's a good enabler if you want to look at a midfielder. And then another one, I'm keeping my eyes on Patrick Bamford. He's got the Norwich game. I think he played about 30 minutes this morning and looked pretty sharp for Leeds. And he's only 2.9% owned. So they're three of the differentials. I think it's very hard to pick differentials this week because there's just so many players that everyone's kind of owning anyway. And I think to find those differentials was tough. So I think they're ones that definitely could go under the radar. But, even those Everton games, it's still a double game week. It's still home matches. And, the likes of Gordon has shown that he can do it in a double game week. So, they're my three.
No, fair enough, mate. So listen, on the Gordon one, like you said, he holding the last double game week. He's looked really, he's looked impressive under Lampard, hasn't he? He's been given that opportunity and shown what he can do. The Richarlison one, obviously been linked with United really heavily in the last week. I've seen quite a fair bit of. I'm not a fan of that one, but he did nothing for me in my FPL team at the start of the season. And Bamford, obviously we've been waiting for him to get back. He was in decent form, wasn't he? But him coming back, 2.9% ownership, obviously, because he's been out for a while. But it'd be quite interesting to see if he can haul in the next couple of weeks in for Team USA.
Yeah, that's right, Ted Lasso. And but the thing about Bamford, and that one's just more so, obviously we've seen it with Vardy, we saw it with Dominic Calvert-Lewin, that these players can come back in and get injured straight away. So there is that risk. But I think with him, it's one just to keep an eye on, even with sort of your eyes on game week 30, because Leeds do play in that. And, Leeds do need goals at the moment. They need results. So, I think, he could be an interesting pick, for the rest of the season.
Yeah, spot on. 32 minutes under his belt in that last game against Leicester. So, he could be in contention. I know Leeds are obviously desperate to have him back. But going on to your three teams to back for game week 29, who are we looking at there, mate?
I back Liverpool over 2 games. They don't lose many matches. They don't drop many points. So I'm going to back Liverpool. I'm going to back, I know we mentioned it was a bogey team, Palace, but I think City are going to get points in that one. I think a lot of people on, free hits or wildcards are really just kind of overlooking these Man City assets, because in game week 31, they've got Burnley away. And, you're going to end up, there's a lot of teams without Man City players. And I think, you still got to have them in there. You still need at least one. And then I will back, I'll back Spurs over the 2 games. I think, I think there'll be be fantasy points. Maybe not so much for the 3 points in each game with the wins, but I'll back us to get some FPL points for sure. I think there's just there's definitely FPL points up for grabs from Doherty, Son, Kane, Kulusevski, Reguilon. I think now Sessegnon's out for a couple of months. Reguilon possibly. I know he's been suffering from a bit of COVID, but he did score the other night. So I'd probably be looking at those players.
Not fair enough, mate. And your captain picks going into this game week, who should our fantasy managers be looking at?
I think Salah remains the standout for me. There's a lot of people with their triple captain left. So, if they triple captain Salah and you don't captain Salah and he hauls again, you're going to miss out on a lot of points. So, Salah's big for me. Harry Kane and Son, they're probably the 3 strong captains for me.
Perfect, mate. And I'm noticing a bit of a theme as you finish this one. Curveball.
It's nice to be able to pick a few of these Spurs players. I've not been overly keen on them this year, so I'm going to go Kulusevski as my curveball, just because he's been getting the numbers, he's getting the minutes, he's getting the game time. So I've got to put him in there.
No, wow, what a pick. I mean, Kulusevski looks really good. He looks like some player as well. They've probably not shown it as much when he was at Juve, of what his potential could bring, but he's actually looked pretty good, hasn't he, in a Spurs shirt? I've actually liked watching him.
Oh yeah, he does look good. So he did win. I think it was maybe not last season, but his first season. He did win the Young Player of the Year for Serie A. So there was some potential. I don't know if that was when he was at Parma, maybe because he went on loan there, and he had a good spell. And then Juve. It was a bit up and down, but I think he looks like he's going to be a really good loan signing, and then there's an obligation to buy at the end of the 18 months, so he could end up being a bargain. And banter as well, who's coming. When he plays, the team ticks a little bit more. So those 2 Juve players have been good signings so far.
No, I appreciate that. And Guru, obviously, that's your Guru section wrapped up, and he's gone pretty heavy on the Spurs on the bias this week. So let's see if they can back it up. And as he said, the assets might hit, but the team may not. And we'll see what happens there. Going on to kind of more finishing up the pod now, but going in a bit of our captains, Ollie Walker-Peel in your wild card. Who are you picking for your captain this week?
Yeah, a lot's changing in my team this week, but the captain has been a constant all year. It's got to be the Egyptian king, Mohamed Salah. You're trying to... Guru's just put a little bit of doubt in my mind, saying, the second game might get postponed. Guru, the Grinch, raining on my plans at the moment, but hopefully those games don't get postponed, and I'd like to go with Mohamed Salah. I even think even if one gets postponed, Liverpool are so good, Mohamed Salah is so good, but I'm going to stick with him.
No, fair enough, mate. It's not a bad plan. Who would you have as your vice, though, in your team? If let's just say Salah don't exist, what have you got?
I don't know. There's probably one of the Spurs lads. Probably Harry Kane, to be honest. Or the curveball in Kulusevski, but I think Harry Kane's the one as vice.
Fair enough, mate. And Reedy, who have you got, mate?
I'm going Harry, aren't I? Harry Kane is the one for me. Yeah, I went Salah this week. It could be roles reversed. I might not go Salah, and he might end up hauling. But I just think Kane's got that momentum. He's got 2 easy fixtures. 2 easy fixtures. I think he'll score. I think he'll probably get a pen in the United game because Harry Maguire is such a dozy so and so.
You won't be able to concede one off the bench.
That's true. But yeah, Phil Jones might make an appearance. You never know. But so I'll go for Harry Kane for my captain, boys.
Awesome, mate. And Guru, who are you backing? It's got to be a Spurs player.
Nah, it's going to be Salah, 100%. I think, the Brighton game. He said it the other day. I think hit the post twice against Inter Milan, and he said, I missed a couple of chances today, so maybe that means I get 3 goals in my next game." And I'd back him in the Brighton one, and then I think the Arsenal one. I can still see Liverpool winning that game, so it's got to be Salah. I just think there's too much of a threat for those that are triple captaining him as well. So I'd rather kind of use that shield of Salah. So yeah, Salah for me. And on a double game week, there's no one else.
I think, though, as well, with that triple captain, a lot of people are going to be scared to use it because I think with these 2 fixtures, especially Liverpool's defence, if you're mentioning the likes of VVD, Konate are out, Thiago, you just never know. But that's going to be a tough... I'm glad I played it when I did, that's for sure, because you've either got to just go for it now, otherwise you're going to be looking for other double fixtures to kind of to play it in the season. So that will be an interesting one. But come on, back Harry Kane, surely. Have you not got it? Have you not bringing him in, Guru? No.
Nah, I think for me, I think Son. If I was going to captain, obviously I've got Son. I looked at it and I thought to have both, it just doesn't fit my squad. And I always find if you put a lot of money into a striker this year, we've seen it with Ronaldo, we've seen it with Kane. There might be a time where I'm just I'll be forced to do it. But right now, having Son, I think doesn't force me to have Kane because I'll back Son to match Kane or maybe get more. Because I think in the game against Everton, if Son had put that second chance away early doors, we wouldn't even be having these Kane-Son debates that we've had. So look, now I think I've got enough coverage with Kulusevski, Son, Salah, in there. So I don't think. I think Kane would do well, but I don't think, if people captain him and I don't, I think Salah can cover him and Son as well.
No, fair shout, lads. And I'm probably going to go Salah as well. I don't think I'll be moving off him. But any going on obviously into a bit of a discussion, we'll have a quick one now. For those who haven't wildcarded, obviously Ollie's, press the button on his wildcard chip. Is this the week to do it versus other weeks coming up? Would you recommend another week to do it? Or is this the time to do it now, do you think? And we'll go Guru first.
You know what? I think the time to do it was last week or the week before, and then set yourself up for these 2 back-to-back double game weeks that we've seen. And then I feel like maybe now, I'm not so sure, because if you look at around sort of just after the game week 32 time where Man City play Liverpool, you've then got a a double/blank sort of game week in 33. You can have a double game week in 36. You then might be able to wildcard around that time to get that last swing of fixtures. So yeah, I think that's something to keep at the back of your mind. But at the same time, though, you might need to do it now if you've not had a good couple of weeks. But yeah, I'd probably look if I was still had it now and I was tracking along quite well with my team. I probably would maybe wait for that last swing of fixtures now, because there's too many wildcards without Man City players, which I just find
puzzling,
mind blowing, because they've got great fixtures towards that last bit of the season, and we know how good they are.
Yeah, no, fair enough. And you feel like you can play, you can get out of that. Obviously, the game week 30 where they're not playing, you could probably get through that by benching them, having enough in your squad, to do it. So
using the free hit.
Yeah, using the free hit if you've still got that. And Reedy, what did you reckon, mate? If obviously you played your wild card already.
I don't think there's anything.
Or is it still
No. I don't think that it's too bad playing it this game week. It's very similar to the game week where people loaded up in 26. They loaded up on Arsenal and Wolves players and so on. It's very similar to that. You've got Arsenal, you've got Liverpool, and you've got Spurs doubling up this week. The good thing about it this time is Wolves didn't really sort of live up to what maybe people thought in that double game week where Arsenal played Wolves and so on. Whereas now I think Spurs are in form. Anyone could score out of their sort of even defenders and attackers. Arsenal, the likes of Saka, Odegaard, Lacazette, you're finding that these sort of teams now. It's almost like their system has begun to start to click. It's the right time for those sort of players. And Ollie playing his wildcard, I don't think it's a bad thing. You could quite easily still set yourself up now for beyond game week 30 quite easily. I don't want to jinx him here, so touch wood, I don't. But no, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think if you leave, the later you leave it, obviously the more difficult it's going to become. The likes of your European competitions coming in, international breaks and so on. So if you're going to do it before 30, probably I'd say is the right time.
No, fair enough. And we've got that the international break, as you mentioned, that's coming up for 31, right? Is it 31, 32 in between then?
Second of 8, I think.
After 30.
Yeah, after 30. So before 31, that might be a good time coming back from there, and you start looking at these different chips that you might have got remaining to have a look at them. But obviously, that kind of wraps up that discussion point in there. Just that was a couple of quick questions. Obviously, Ollie, we've got fingers crossed for you, mate, or probably not myself. I ain't got my fingers crossed for you. But going into the cup now, the cup, for some reason, it was scheduled for game week for this game week, but it has been moved back a week. Not too sure if there's a miscalculation of some sort from FPL, but I did a copy and paste from last week, and that hasn't succeeded. So the cup, good luck everyone this week, and we'll see what scores we finish on to determine the fixtures. And as the boys mentioned last week, it will be those who score higher should be provided buys, I believe, from what it says on the FPL. So we'll see how we go there. But any other further thoughts from you boys into going into game week 29?
Not further thoughts as such. I think we've covered quite a lot of players. I think Guru's on with his picks and so on. Been quite good. I think if you're going to sort of differentials maybe to look at for 29 as well, which people haven't really mentioned. I think City, if you're going to go for the likes of Mahrez, hasn't been mentioned really much, and I know he's been banging as of late. It'd be interesting. I know that Dan Capolaro, he's got him in D10 and he's kind of kept him and so on. And the interesting one is Rafinha as well. Do people hold him? He's got that game against Norwich. I brought him in on wildcard, and people who watched last night's game really think that he's unsettled at the club and he basically wants to leave. We got that yellow card later on. So the likes of Rafinha, anyone who's got him in, did he hold him? Did he not? What do you boys think on that one more so?
Ollie?
I mean, the thing is with Leeds don't really look threatening in any sort of sense, do they? Rafinha might be the player to help them out of that, but I wouldn't be going near Leeds at the moment, I wouldn't think. Especially if a player looks unsettled, as you say. I'd be steering clear.
Yeah, that's, I suppose. What do you boys think, Matt and Jack, on the Rafinha situation?
Yeah, I'd keep him for Norwich. I'd probably keep him for Norwich and keep him for game week 30 because...
I think you keep him if you have him.
Yeah.
But if you haven't got him, I wouldn't be transferring him in.
Yeah, that's exactly the same as what Ali said, really. I think, if you don't have him, you're not going to bring him in. But if you've got him, Norwich home, you get the game week 30. Leeds have to, then they need points. If they do score goals, they're surely not going to blank, for the rest of the season. They're going to score goals at some point. And if they do, he's still one of their main men. But it is a difficult one after what we've just seen.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Were you asking for a friend then, Reedy?
Well, I've got him, but I think just it's a general sort of chat as such as at the moment of people brought him in and also he's looked good this season. But I think now Leeds, it's getting worrying for them, and he's been the guy who's kind of been delivering. Bamford's probably going to be back. I expect him to probably get his first start. I think he got benched against Villa, but so Bamford coming back in could be huge, could be a difference. But also one thing we haven't covered or mentioned is the double for Everton. Now, I don't know. I know Ollie's on a wild card there, and he didn't mention any Everton players because people are probably staying away from them for obvious reasons. But Everton players having a double, there's no one sort of considering it. Or
who would you have? I mean, Goo's mentioned Gordon, Richarlison as his differential picks.
I've heard Seamus Coleman's been. I've heard his name been knocking about on Twitter, and people saying that.
I think he's been knocking about for too long, hasn't he?
I had a polite look at Anthony Gordon. I had a look and sort of thought, could do, maybe. He'd be the only one for me, though.
Here we go. Check this one out. I love this one. JC hauled huge this week, and he's gone, Gordon is my captain. Unbelievable.
Fair enough.
Go on, JC.
Here we go, boys.
He'd be the one from Everton for me. He's looked decent. He's got a bit about him. Obviously, Evertonian himself through the academy, so he knows what the club, he knows everything about the club, and he's obviously knows more than most what it means to play for Everton. So he might have that bit about him just to take him over the line. I don't mind it. I probably wouldn't have him as your captain, but if you want a differential, fire away. But no, I think he'd be the only one, Gordon. I wouldn't be going in defence. I wouldn't be going someone like Seamus Coleman because, honestly, they're absolutely horrendous at defending. I reckon you could throw me in at centre half, and I'd almost do a better job than Nathan Hall getting Michael Keane at the moment. But,
the only person I'll be looking at this week is Duncan Ferguson for Everton on the double.
They need him. They need him at the moment, didn't they? Just a big target man. Him and Calvert-Lewin up top, mate. They wouldn't lose a game.
Can you imagine what they're like in training? Them two together up top. That'd be some duo. That.
I just want to say the one thing I wanted to mention before we hopped off. I know I hopped on late and we had a little joke about the paparazzi, but I just wanted to fully since it was sincere at the start, but I just want to congratulate everyone on the podcast and the community that we've got here, because without everyone here, that we wouldn't be in the position that we are. Obviously, it's brilliant to have such a wonderful crew on the pod. Obviously, Jack, Matt, you started this. We started this all, and Elliot right at the start with Statman started last season, and it's gone from strength to strength. We've had the socials. We've somehow been represented on 606. So, well done to you all, and glad to be a part of it. And long may the growth continue. It's just a brilliant community to be a part of. So I just thought I'd mention that.
No, I'm sure we all second that. Absolutely, it's something we've spent a lot of time in, and we've put a lot of effort in, and we've recruited from the UK as well with Reedy, and it's there's a lot of contributors to it, whether they're in the paid mini, the free mini, on our Discord, the followers on Twitter. So absolutely, everyone is it's all part of it, and that's why I want to keep growing it. And the spin-off with FPL Socials all part of it as well, and we want to be able to engage with the UK and the world audience as well. And we'll keep reaching out to each and every one. But that does wrap up the podcast for Game Week 29. What a preview. That's been an hour and 20. We hope you enjoyed it and got plenty of takeaways. Reedy nearly mentioned every single player on the pod, so just about. But yeah, thanks so much. Make sure you give us a like and a subscribe. Put some comments in. We get back to your questions. Follow us on the Twitter handles, FPL Addicts _podcast. But and a big thank you to our bonus bank sponsor as well for providing the goods. And listen, I want to wish everyone good luck. May all your FPL dreams come true. And we'll see you next week for Game Week 30. Take care and see you later.